Today, I'm kicking off a new series about the characteristics of entrepreneurs. I'm not going to give you the typical characteristics, and this is not a listicle type post. I'm giving you the grit, the real story. You see, probably my very favorite thing about my personal entrepreneurial journey is the personal development that I've experienced. I've grown so much as a person. I'm a way better person now than I was a decade ago before we started working to build our own business. This series that we're jumping into today, starting off with today, is going to shed some light on the characteristics that have grown the most in me over the last 9+ years. But I've noticed them in other entrepreneurs who stick with it for the long term, at least 5 years. I've noticed that they develop these characteristics as well. So, if you're an aspiring entrepreneur or you're just beginning out as an entrepreneur and these characteristics don't describe you, or maybe describe you a little bit, but you know that you could grow in them, that's totally fine. Just be aware that these will be developed as they are demanded of you throughout your own entrepreneurial journey. Especially if you're a mission-driven entrepreneur, putting your heart and your soul into your business. If that describes you, chances are you will see tons of personal growth and development as you build your business and accomplish your mission, because you're putting so much of yourself into it. A lot's going to be demanded of you, and that's hands down going to help you grow. So this week, the first characteristic I want to get into is stubborn tenacity. When people talk about entrepreneurship, they seldom discuss just how many opportunities entrepreneurs have to throw in the towel. At so many stages along the way, entrepreneurs have to make the choice to keep going or to give up. One of the major characteristics of entrepreneurs is stubborn tenacity. Even though there are many chances to quit, we never do so. We stick with it and figure out how to keep moving forward. Here are some examples of how stubborn tenacity can become one of your characteristics of entrepreneurship. So first, have a stubbornly tenacious partner. I remember one day in particular when Brandon was still working in his cubicle and I was trying to get our business open. And he came home and I was just in tears, ready to bail out. I didn't think that the coffee shop was ever going to open and that we'd given it a good go, but we should retreat now. We went for a walk. We grabbed a sandwich. We talked it through. He listened to me share. He shared what he thought. Obviously, we didn't quit. Sometimes when you feel like giving up, you need a partner who will not let you. There are so many benefits to having a partner, but this is one of my favorites. He has stubborn tenacity when I don't, and vice versa, and it helps it develop it in each other. This actually helps develop your own stubborn tenacity because you're reminded of why you're doing this, and you know you're being held accountable by someone equally invested in your business. You have to be stubbornly tenacious for the both of you, and so does your partner. It's a virtuous cycle. So that's the first one. The second one, it's this idea of treating business like a game where those with stubborn tenacity win. We had a roommate for a while who liked to watch the show Survivor, and we watched it with her for a season, and I'll never forget their slogan: outwit, outlast, and outplay. This phrase has gotten me through some pretty hard times. Business is a game of survival. I just have to outwit, outlast, and outplay. If you've ever watched Survivor like me, you might get furious when people on the show just seem to give up. We know it's hard to imagine what they're going through. It's a scripted show, so we don't see everything that's going on, and the writers and producers want us to feel certain ways. Yet, it's still very upsetting when players just give up. We can see around the bend in the road and know that they're almost to an easy part. We can see the part of the path out of the valley, and they can't see it. Remember this when you feel like giving up. It's like you're the contestant, And there is a path out of the valley. There is an easy road just around the bend. You might not be able to see it, but the people watching, they might see it, or, what have you. But the main gist is that business is a game where those with stubborn tenacity win. With some creativity, you can reinvent the game you're playing and develop a strategy to win. That's how people win Survivor. They reinvent the game. You just need to look for the opportunities that no one else is seeing. You just need to outwit, outlast, and outplay. And finally, sometimes to help develop that stubborn tenacity, you just have to keep swimming in that stubborn tenacity. To be completely honest here, there are more times than I care to admit when the only thing I could do is just simply will myself to put one foot in front of the other. And moving forward is always better than standing still. So if you ever heard those words, "this too shall pass," it's true. It might seem kind of trite, but in entrepreneurship, there are always ups and downs. I have a friend who owns a 4th-generation business. He's the leader of that business today and is the 4th generation to be there. And he continues to go through ups and downs. And I actually find that encouraging, that that's just part of being an entrepreneur. For me, now that I'm, well into being an entrepreneur, not 4 generations in, but a few numbers behind me, a few years behind me, what I've discovered is that the downs get a lot less worse. Sure, there's the chance that we'll have another major down, but mostly the downs are not as far down as the downs in those first couple years. So if you've had a worst entrepreneurial moment, you know what I mean. No, you and you understand, you get this. No matter how bad things get, they aren't likely to get worse than that worst entrepreneurial moment that you've had to date. Let me also say, if you're going through what feels like a worst entrepreneurial moment right now, and what I would tell you is that you can figure out a way to get through it. You're going to develop, as you figure out that way, you're going to develop some emotional and mental and spiritual muscles that will make every other down so much easier to get through. You can do this. Just keep putting one foot in front of the other. Move forward, even just a tiny bit. That's way better than standing still. Just keep swimming. So what do you think? Next week, I'm going to talk about another one of those emotional, mental, or spiritual muscles that I've seen and developed in myself and in other entrepreneurs. In the meantime, I'd love to hear from you. Comment and share how stubborn tenacity has benefited you in your life or in your business, or both. I'd love to hear your story, and I'd love to see how it can encourage some other people in their own entrepreneurial journeys. Until next week, keep overflowing. Peace.